So if you've noticed that some episodes and scenes from your favorite shows have kind of been disappearing lately, you're not losing your mind. It's really happening. So I decided to look for some that have been banned in different countries. There's a great episode of Friends that features a lesbian wedding. Want to guess what the ep is called? You nailed it, the one with the monkey butler. I'm kidding, it's the one with the lesbian wedding. It was first aired as the 11th episode of season 2, meaning it aired in 1996. So, if you're up on your history, you know that it was actually pretty groundbreaking. It was the first time a lesbian wedding had been shown on the air, in fact. In the episode, Ross's ex, Carol, marries her fiancée, Susan. And not only was it important to the storyline of the show, it was culturally important too. Jane Sibbett, who played Carol, talked about how she met a man at an award ceremony who pointed out how inspiring the wedding was. He told her if he hadn't seen that episode and thought of the two characters as role models, he likely wouldn't be around into his adulthood. However, not everyone saw this scene as inspiring. For starters, it was banned in several countries around the world. Not super surprising considering how many places there still are where it's illegal to be gay. But it was also banned in certain areas of the US, like parts of Texas and Ohio. And of course, for the rest of the country, this scene aired and, shock, the world was still there the next day. Producer Marta Kaufman said NBC was like super nervous their phone lines were going to be jammed from all the people calling to complain. They put 104 people on the phones just that evening, but they literally got 2 phone calls of complaint. Whoops. Speaking of whether the world will be here tomorrow, HBO's Last of Us is a monster hit about a post-apocalyptic world and based on the popular video game of the same name. And there's a moment in episode 7 that kind of rocked everybody. That was, of course, the kiss between Ellie and Riley. It was a really cool and touching scene, and one that some parts of the world saw a really confusing version of. The Orbit Showtime Network, or OSN, is a company that delivers content to much of the Middle East and North Africa region. And while they didn't take down the whole episode, especially since it's a global sensation and they don't want to lose viewers, they did make a rather awkward cut in the middle of the moment. We see Ellie and Riley like super close, and then suddenly Ellie apologizes.
I'm sorry.
So unless she had too much of the bean casserole for lunch that day, it was probably pretty clear she was apologizing for something that got cut. Of course, viewers in other parts of the world know that it was the very brief kiss that was taken out. It's now 27 years after the Friends ep, and apparently the notion of 2 women kissing is still causing major malfunctions in some parts of the world. But don't worry, there are a lot of non-lesbian kiss-related reasons why episodes or scenes have been banned abroad.
What do you mean?
For example, in the UK, the issue of the Troubles in Northern Ireland has been a pretty touchy subject for a long time. So when Star Trek: The Next Generation mentioned that Ireland had at one point been reunified after a quote successful terrorist campaign,
is an effective way to promote political change.
Yes, it can be.
Things got a little awkward. The implication was basically that Ireland and Northern Ireland had, at some point in the future, reunited, and it was because Northern Ireland had violently terrorized the English to win back freedom. Not to get too into the weeds with the political and religious overtones of that.
Yes, I'm aware of them.
I think that kind of video, y'all. But let's just say it's not a statement that was ever going to go over great in England. So the BBC just up and banned the episode. So if you were surprised to hear about a banned episode of a sci-fi series, you're gonna spit out your water when I tell you there was an episode of Sesame Street that had the same fate, and because they also talked about the Troubles in Northern Ireland. Okay, that last part not so much. But there was a Sesame Street ep that was deemed a little too intense. It featured Margaret Hamilton, which might not be a name that rings a bell. How about the name The Wicked Witch of the West?
I'll get you, my pretty.
Yep, Hamilton played that green-faced nightmare and did an incredible job with it. But let's be honest, we all had at least one Wicked Witch nightmare when we were kids, right? I mean, the laugh alone will send a shiver down my spine. The crazy thing is that she was a guest on Sesame Street.
I've made it rain in the store, all wet and messy.
More than 40 years after The Wizard of Oz came out. And yet, when she suddenly turned into her infamous witch character, things got real.
Maybe for you.
PBS quickly banned the episode, claiming it was just flat out too scary for little kids. They tried to salvage it, holding test screenings for focus groups and such, just in case they had overreacted. But even after that, they were still like, yeah, let's just go with the giant talking bird and the anteater elephant hybrid, because those things are way less scary. To try to help kids not be as scared of the Wicked Witch, Hamilton even once appeared on an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. She appeared in costume, minus the green face paint, and had a lovely discussion with Rogers about the character and the power of make-believe, although it didn't help because I, like many out there, still have the nightmares. Now, Margaret Hamilton in Greenface might have been scary, but things get a lot more dicey when it comes to darker shades of face paint. For the past few decades, the practice of blackface has been rightfully called out more and more as being, well, not at all okay. This got amped up during the Black Lives Matter movement that gained traction during 2020. Because of that, there have been a bunch of episodes of comedies that have been retroactively banned from airing. Streamers like Netflix and Hulu have gone back through their catalog to find instances of it happening and then removed those episodes.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm! Everybody stay calm!
In some instances, they removed a scene or two, and in others, they pulled full episodes. For example, 4 episodes of 30 Rock were removed, and 3 because they featured white characters in blackface makeup. In fairness, the blackface in modern comedies is usually meant either as a silly device, like in one of the 30 Rocks where Jenna Maroney and Tracy Jordan swap identities to settle a bet, or to mock the act of blackface itself. For example, John Hamm appeared in blackface in a 30 Rock episode because they were making fun of an actual racist show from back in the day, Amos and Andy. But those nuances don't really cut it these days. And to her credit, Tina Fey made a statement in support of the ban. The same is true with a few episodes of Scrubs, which contained some overt blackface moments. In that case, show creator and producer Bill Lawrence preemptively went to Hulu and was like, yeah, so you're gonna want to ban a few of our episodes too. I took the liberty of writing them down for you. And Hulu went along with that plan. Other popular comedies like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and The Office had similar issues with a few of their episodes, which still remained banned from their respective streamers. Even the seemingly tame stylings of the Golden Girls joined the party, with an episode called Mixed Blessings being banned from Hulu. In it, Rose and Blanche are wearing mud masks on their faces. They're introduced to a black character, and the joke is that they're mistakenly thought to be wearing blackface. This is another example where the humor comes from the fact that blackface is inherently wrong. And oddly enough, if they had just had mud masks on in a beauty salon setting and the scene was about something totes different, then it wouldn't have been an issue. But as they say, context is everything.
Now, what do you say? We all join hands.
Okay, I'm gonna go pop on The Wizard of Oz just to prove I can watch it without having nightmares.
Very well. I'll bide my time.
It's bound to finally not happen, right?
And as for you, my fine lady,
I don't know, she's just so wicked. Anyway, if you can think of some other episodes or scenes that got banned around the world or in the US,
What do you think?
pop them in the comments.